All right, we're live, guys. We are live. Welcome back. This is actually the first episode of the podcast, Count the Bucket. I'm your host, Amber Vickers. I have my co-host next to me, Andrew Williams. We have our Twitters down below. Go follow us. And also, you can go follow the Unwrapped Sports Network as well, because Count the Bucket is presented by the Unwrapped Sports Network and Hoops USN, which is also a part of the Unwrapped Sports Network. I'm a director for the Hoops department. We have a lot of fun stuff, you guys, for 2021. Andrew and I have been talking, a lot of fun stuff.
Just getting started.
Oh my goodness. And he's my co-host.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk some college basketball too. I know he's not very happy with Kentucky right now, but we're going to talk college basketball. So the Unwrapped University and Hoops Unwrapped are going to converge after football season is over with. Caleb runs the Unwrapped University. We're going to converge after that. My mom just came home, so my dog's barking. So we're going to converge and we're going to make one big partnership, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We can't wait to talk about G League. I know Andrew wants to talk about G League and just some prospects in the G League and things like that, because they are the next stars of the NBA. They're pretty much NBA players just developing. It's just a developmental league. Man, Andrew, I'm excited.
There's a lot of, I feel like, okay, so like with I mean, obviously I'm a football fan. Football's been kind of hit or miss for me this year. And so like, I'm in on the playoffs, the NFL playoffs getting ready to start up and stuff. I mean, I'm obviously in on the college football playoff, but basketball has carried us through from the bubble. Now we got college and the NBA starting back up. So I'm really excited. I think we got great content coming. Some of the stuff that we talked about, there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming. And I think if you're a fan of basketball, Unwrapped Sports and Hoops USN is going to be the place to keep track of over the next several months.
It is. Before we dive into today's show, we got to pay some bills first. So teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Get you some unwrapped gear. I have some unwrapped gear. I'm excited to wear it. I didn't wear it tonight, but I will be wearing it probably every single show. And if you want to learn how to buy that gear and get your betting on, mybookie.ag, use the code USN100, double your first deposit up to $1,000. Guys, what's better than that? You need a new phone, your phone's broke, you double your first deposit. Alex and Corey do Bets Unwrapped. They do that on Saturdays now. They're going to start back unwrap these bands, but the show is going to be a little different with Caleb. He's going to change the concept. So both of those shows can teach you how to win money.
Free money. Free money. Come on. It's easy. Free money.
We all love it. I'm just not the gambling betting type. Like, I want to do it so bad, but I just cannot. Me losing, I would probably chunk my remote at the TV. Like,
I think too much of my heart as well. So like, I can't do it because it's too much like, all right, I'm a fan of this team, so I think they're going to win. And so like my heart's too much into the game and I can't do it. But listen to those dudes. They know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Watch those shows, watch Unwrap these bands, keep up with Alex. He does a great job. Corey does a great job with those shows. Follow their picks, free money, man.
And Corey's gambling from overseas, guys. So if Corey can do it from Australia, you can do it from anywhere.
Exactly.
Also, sore achy muscles, rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp/USN and get 10% off of your order. My mom just came home. My dog went crazy. She stepped on the toy. That's a great way to segue into this show. All right, Andrew. Power rankings so far. Now, there have only been 4 or 5 games played in the NBA. But, ESPN came out with their preseason rankings, and then they came out with their power rankings. So what are your power rankings for so far for this season?
So first off, let me say, I think it's stupid to kind of go in and make these big assumptions about the whole year based on 4 games. So I think there's a lot of things that can change. This is not my ranking of saying, these are the 10 teams that are the 10 title favorites or anything like that. There's been 4 games. So if you listen to my rankings, you say, well, he's crazy. I'm basing this off of 4 games. And I'm saying this is subject to change. This power ranking is very fluid. That's what it is. I've enjoyed watching the game so far. We've had some surprises and some disappointments. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go through my 10. Amber's going to tell me whether she agrees or disagrees. If you know me, you followed me, you probably know who number 1's going to be, but we're going to start with number 10 and work our way up the list based off. And I've watched a lot of basketball. I've not watched everything, but I've watched a lot of basketball, and we'll see if we agree on these picks. At number 10, we have a team that I thought would be solid coming into the year. I think they've been okay. They've not been great. Their best game was against my favorite team the other night. At number 10, I got the Portland Trailblazers. They've had some close games. They played great against the Lakers the other night. Zach Collins just had another surgery. That's a blow for them. What I'm seeing with the Trailblazers right now, Robert Covington's not hitting shots. I think that's a difficult thing for them because I think they kind of expected him to be that 3-and-D guy. And I think that, the D is there, the 3 is not. But I'm telling you, man, my pick for most improved player, Gary Trent Jr., I watched him the other night. I mean, listen, he lit the Lakers up. And you say, well, they lost to the Clippers last night. Gary Trent Jr. didn't play. Dame shot really bad. They had a bad night. They're subject to that. But when this team is hot, this is one of the best scoring teams in the NBA. I worry about the Trailblazers playing defense because they're still kind of a lackluster defensive team. But anytime that you got Dame Lillard, you got C.J. McCollum, you got Yusef Nurkic, great passer. And now you're starting to see Gary Trent Jr. He had 28 against the Lakers. That dude took a lot of confidence from the bubble. And he is a guy that's just continuing on that path. And you can see that this kid is becoming a legitimate high-scoring threat in this league. And so at number 10, I've got the Blazers. I still think that they need to make some moves. I wouldn't be against them, and you can whatever. I wouldn't be against them seeing, what they could get from CJ. I know CJ's played great. He's already had a 40-point game. But they got to get better defensively. I mean, that bench is playing pretty good. Enes Kanter played pretty good for them the other night against the Lakers. But I think they can improve. I think they'll be there. They're probably a 5-6 seed in the West. But they're my number 10 team right now.
Portland at number 10. I have Portland as a 4 seed in the West. Now, I say that because I thought they would be a little bit better defensively because they can score.
Yeah.
They can score. The defensive issues I have troubles with, rotations. It just doesn't seem like the scheme is working right now. Now, mind you, short training camp, right? Short training camp. And they haven't had very much time together. Rodney Hood's coming back from his Achilles surgery. So when he gets his feet going and Covington gets his feet going, I think they can be decent defensively. As much as they score, all they need to do is be decent defensively. Yeah. You know what I mean? As much as they score. So I like Portland at 10. I like Portland at 10 because I'm very high on Portland. And I might be a little biased because I'm a Dame fan. But when you look at that team and how they played against the Lakers, they played very well against the Lakers. And when you play well against good teams, great teams, because the Lakers are a great team, that shows you a lot. Then you come back with a stinker against the Clippers after the Clippers had a stinker against Dallas. So, and then Dallas had a stinker against the Hornets. It's the NBA. It's just so unpredictable.
And a lot of these teams, what you're saying, they're playing these back-to-backs, same cities against the same teams. You saw the Bucks blow out the Heat the other night. Then the Heat come back and beat the Bucks the next night. The Blazers play really good against the Lakers and then play the Clippers the next night and lose. So I mean, the way the schedule is set up, it's kind of this like back-to-back thing. Like you're playing the same team 2 times in the same city. And so, that can be hard to get up for. Something I have been encouraged by, in some of those back-to-back games is you are not seeing the amount of rest that I think we thought you would see. Now, there have been some players that are resting, but for the most part, dudes are playing. And I think that's a great thing for the NBA. We'll see if that continues to go. But listen, we're 5 games into the season now. This is only a 72-game season. So, you can't wait as long to get the ball rolling. You kind of have to hit the ground running. And you look at a team like the Wizards that we were talking about before the show started. Are they done now that they're 0-5? No, they're not done. But now it's much more of a struggle to get things going because you've already lost 5 in a row. And so with the Blazers, I look at the Blazers and I say, all right, they had a break. Their break wasn't super long because they were in the playoffs in the bubble. They worked themselves to death to get that 8 seed in the bubble. I think they're still maybe in effect. They're still getting their legs, in game shape and getting their. And I like what you said there about Covington. When he gets his feet under him, he'll be ready to go because Covington played longer with the Rockets. They made it to the second round, so you may see some of those guys. It may take them a little bit longer to get started, and so I like that. I like that with the Blazers. I think they're going to be good. I think that they're my 10 team. They can move up. They can move down. I just think that their defense needs to come around a little bit more.
All right, Andrew, who you got at number 9?
At number 9, I got a team that I think is playing really well. I like them, and it's been a surprise as to kind of who their other guy is. At number 9, I got the Phoenix Suns. I like the way that Phoenix is playing, and the guy for them that surprised me has been Mikal Bridges. He's been really great so far. You can see, and Devin Booker's been playing good, but not great yet. Chris Paul, you can kind of see that team is just it just feels like they're different now that they've got Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. DeAndre Ayton's been a little bit underwhelming up to this point. I was kind of expecting a little bit more of him. Like we said, it's 5 games into the season. I think that what you'll see with the Suns is they're just going to continue to get better throughout the year. The longer that Booker and Bridges and Ayton play with Chris Paul, the more that you're going to see his imprint on that team. I like the way that they're playing. I like that the dudes they've got around those guys, like that Paul, Bridges, Booker, Ayton team. Jay Crowder's there, and Tyler Johnson. That's his name, Tyler Johnson. He's been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
So, I like the Suns. I've got them at my number 9 team, and they are where I expected them to be.
I like Phoenix too, and Phoenix blew out New Orleans.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Why are we seeing so many blowouts? That is happening a lot.
Yeah.
Are guys not getting up because of fans? Like, I don't know why there are so many blowouts. I can't remember a time there were so many blowouts. Right now, the 76ers are blowing out the Magic 98-65, and the 76ers are on the road.
Yeah.
It's 2020. I guess.
You got to think, too, like some of those, road games are a little bit different now. Pretty much, fans are not there, but still yet you have the travel and all that type of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what the cause of blowouts are. Maybe it's, some guys have been off for a really long time, mm-hmm. and some guys have been off for a really short time. And so there's a lot of difference between the amount of rest that different groups have gotten. So maybe it'll even itself out, but there might just be a gap. There might just be a gap in teams, because as we've saw so far, there are some really bad teams this year, and some of those teams I just don't think are going to get that much better.
Yeah, and the thing about that with Phoenix is Chris Paul hasn't been able to just quite go Chris Paul. Like, he hasn't, not just yet. Devin Booker, we haven't seen that 30-point-a-game Devin Booker, and that's scary. Because Mikal Bridges, I like Mikal Bridges a lot. 3-and-D guy is also learning how to create his own shot. DeAndre Ayton, I'm waiting for him to come around. Cam Johnson, Tyler
Johnson, not Cam Johnson.
Even Cameron Payne is knocking down shots. He couldn't hit the broad side of a barn in OKC. I
hate Cam Payne, and there's only one reason I hate Cam Payne, because Cam Payne's shot is so ugly that every time I see it, I'm just like, I can't like you, man. I'm sorry. And this is coming. I'm somebody, Amber, that loves Michael Kidd-Gilchrist because he played at Kentucky. But I watch his shot and I'm just like, MKG, you're killing me, man. Like, I look the same way at Cam Payne. I'm like, your shot is so ugly, Cam Payne. Like, but he's playing good. Like, I don't know. It works. His shot works, whatever. I like the Suns.
Yeah, I like the Suns too. And I love Monty Williams. I've been a Monty Williams fan for a while. He coached here in OKC. He's just a great guy, and he got another opportunity with a young team. I watched a podcast. It's Gilbert Arenas, and he's sitting on the couch. I forgot the name of it. And he had Earl Watson on.
Mm-hmm.
And Earl Watson said people were crazy because he was starting Devin Booker. And he was talking about how people told him he was crazy. Why would you start this kid and blah, blah, blah. And Gilbert Arenas was like, I wonder how they feel now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wonder how people feel now. And Devin Booker was really forgotten about in Kentucky. You're a Kentucky guy. You know what I mean? They had all those stars there.
I mean, that Devin Booker was on that team that was 38-0. Devin Booker was a kid that he was during that time, which Kentucky's, and I'm sure we'll talk college basketball a little bit at the end. But Kentucky during that run from like 2010 to 2015, John Calipari was getting the top like 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. I mean, in the country every single year. And so like we had been off of, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, that group. And then you had like Brandon Knight, that group. And every group, Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and all these groups. And then you had that 2015 group where you had the guy at the top, which was Karl Towns, and he was like the number one guy. Devin Booker was ranked like 40th in that class. And when Devin Booker came in, everybody was like, this kid's a good 3-year player, and for most of that year, honestly, he didn't start. He came off the bench and we was like, yeah, he's a pretty good shooter, and I remember the month of like January and February, he got really hot, was playing really good. But Amber, we went 38-0 that year. We platooned, we had 10 dudes in the team. You switched guys in and out so deep. They get to the tournament and they play Wisconsin in the Final Four and losing the Final Four. And Devin Booker was getting cooked on defense and didn't even play like the last 10 minutes of that game, and they lost that game. And Andrew and Aaron Harrison played over Devin Booker. And a lot of Kentucky fans were thinking, all right, we'll have Devin back next year. But honest to goodness, he was like a 8-9 point a game scorer at Kentucky. And then he leaves, that whole team leaves because it's what everybody at Kentucky does. The whole team leaves. He goes to the NBA, and now he's like a superstar, and it's awesome. I'm really happy for him. At the same time, it's super frustrating because we never got to see the best of Devin Booker. Like, I cheer him on, but like, I never saw the best of Devin Booker at Kentucky. Go get your money, man. Like, I do the same thing if I was in his shoes, but as a Kentucky fan, I'm sitting there thinking, I mean, you put up 70-something in Boston, and like the most I seen you score was like 20 at a random road game at like Mississippi State. You know what I mean? So like, but Monty Williams does a good job with those dudes. I like the Suns team. I think Booker's ready to take even the next step, and I think anytime you put a young guard around Chris Paul, look at Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder talked about how much of an imprint that CP3 had on his game. And if you watch the Lakers, Schroeder's great, man. Like he's wonderful this year after that year with CP3. I'm so excited to see what Devin Booker does after a year with CP3.
Yeah, and I even forgot Devin Booker went to Kentucky, and I was like, wait a minute, Devin Booker.
He was a bench guy. He came off the bench.
I know, and I was like, I don't remember. And then I was like, oh my, I kind of remember, but I kind of don't, because they was so loaded. They were so loaded, but now he's like one of the best players in the NBA that played at Kentucky. He's that forgotten about star at Kentucky. That's how I think about it.
It's the thing too, Amber. That's you got to understand, first and foremost, I'm a Kentucky fan. Like before anything, like I'm a Kentucky fan. And but when they lost that game, Devin Booker's year, when they lost that game in the Final Four to Wisconsin, a part of me died. And I hate the whole state of Wisconsin. I hate Frank stupid Kaminsky and Sam Decker and Nigel Hayes and that whole stupid team, because they played the game of their life and we just forgot how to play basketball the last 4 minutes of the game with Devin Booker sitting on the sidelines, and we go 38-1. And still to this day, I wish the worst upon the state of Wisconsin. I hope the Packers losing in the first round of the playoffs. I hope cheese is disgusting there. I hate Wisconsin. Sorry to all the Wisconsin people watching this. God bless you.
This is a safe space, Andrew. We all know safe space. You just got to get it out. Sometimes you just got to let it go and get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out. All right. Number 8, who you got?
My number 8 team is a team that I think is going to be playing a lot better down the road, but they're not there yet. And I think a lot of it's just because they're tired. the Miami Heat. The Heat. I think the Heat are 2-2 to this point. Am I right about that? I think
they beat the Pelicans on Christmas. They beat the Bucks last night, right?
I'm thinking the Heat are 2-2. I could, if I'm wrong about that,
I'll look it up for you. Don't worry. This is what the phone is for.
But so, like, what we're seeing so far is, Jimmy Butler has I think he's missed a game. Yeah, they're 2-2.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler's missed the game. I think that the Heat are going to be really good. I think they're going to be right there at the end of the year. I think they're coming out of the gate a little bit slower. They didn't have much time to recuperate, and so they're going to spend a little bit of time getting their legs under them. What's interesting to me right now is what's going on at point guard for them, and here's what I'm saying. Right now, they're starting Tyler Hero at point guard, another Kentucky guy. And their lineup right now is Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Bam, and I don't know, is whoever else is starting at the 4 or 5 there for him. But Goran Dragic is coming off the bench. And that's a little odd for me because I don't think that Tyler Hero is a true point guard, but I do think that you kind of have to start Tyler Hero because I think that, there's a scenario where Tyler Hero, we're talking about Devin Booker. I think Tyler Hero can be, I don't know if he's right at Devin Booker's level, but I don't think he's that far from him or what he can be. I think he's a confident kid. He's just going to continue to get better. He's really young. He's in a really good system. Bam has been playing really well. I think they're going to be right there as the year continues to go along. And as I told you before we started, they're my sneaky. I know Pat Riley came out the other day and said, we're fine with our team. We're not doing anything. They're my sneaky trade for James Harden team. Like, I think that. So let me ask you, Amber. Okay, let's do a scenario. All right. So let's think about this for a second. The Rockets call the Heat and they say, all right, James Harden, you give us back Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and picks. Two first rounders, 2 future first rounders, 2 pick swaps. Are you doing it?
Depends on what the picks look like. What I mean?
You would think, though, with James Harden and Jimmy Butler and Bam, if that's your big 3, they're going to be lower in the first round.
Yeah.
There's no way that I'm not doing that. Like, you have to do that if you're the Heat. I don't care how. Duncan Robinson is 27 years old. I don't care if that dude can hit 500 straight threes.
Okay. But if you trade Duncan Robinson, where does your shooting come from?
James Harden. You keep so you may have to. So you'd probably have to ship Iguodala out to match salaries. You hold on to Dragic. And you could start Dragic, Harden, Butler, Bam, and Precious, who, by the way, Precious Achiuwa has been great. I think he is going to be a dude that's around the league for a long time. He has a lot of Bam in him. Like he has a lot of, maybe not as good, but he has a lot of Bam in him. I see that same possible type of player. He's great. But you're listen, I'm sorry. But, I love Tyler Hero. I drove 14 hours across the country to go watch Tyler Hero play in the Elite 8, and they lost, by the way. But, so I'm a Tyler Hero guy. He's a Kentucky guy. But if it's him and Duncan Robinson for James Harden, you do it. Like, I just don't care. Like, I think that would vault them up, and I like Tyler Hero going forward. But, if you got a chance to trade for James Harden, you trade for James Harden.
Okay, do you think James Harden was signed long-term with the Miami Heat?
Absolutely.
It's Miami, strip clubs everywhere. Okay, you're right.
It's he's there. He's there. The only thing I worry about with James Harden is that Heat culture. Like, Pat Riley expects those, and Jimmy Butler's the same way. Like, if they lose a game, they're out, they're shooting till like 4 a.m, and Jimmy Butler's like punching guys in the face and all that stuff. James Harden, like, after the game, he's like, listen, I'm out. I got to go to the club. See y'all later. Like, y'all can stay in there and shoot till 4 a.m. I'm going to come back. I might be overweight a little bit, but I'm going to drop 40 and 13, and you're going to like it. So whatever happens, I
have a question.
Okay.
Do you think the reason why James Harden is acting out is because he doesn't want to be in Miami? why he's doing what he wants to do because he doesn't want to be in Houston, and he wants to go somewhere else. But do you think if he got with the Heat that he would do the same exact thing, or do you think he would change? Because Pat Riley isn't having it.
I don't think. Okay, so like here's a couple things. First of all, I think James Harden is trying to pull Anthony Davis, but he doesn't know how to do it. Like James Harden really wants out of Houston, but he doesn't know how to do it. Anthony Davis had Rich Paul, and Rich Paul was like the master at Rich Paul's the best agent in the NBA probably, and he lined that up perfectly to get Anthony Davis to where he wanted to go. And here's the difference: Anthony Davis only had a year left on his contract. James Harden has 2. That makes it more difficult. That makes it more difficult. James Harden, I'm pretty sure James Harden represents himself. I don't know if he has an agent. So James Harden doesn't really have, like, he's trying to do what Anthony Davis did without the same strategy that Anthony Davis had. And so I think Harden's thinking, okay, if I stay out and do this, if I do this, they'll want to get rid of me. And the Rockets are like, yeah, do what you want to. You got 2 years left on your deal. We're going to trade you where we want to trade you. Second thing, with the Heat, here's what I know about Pat Riley. If James Harden, let's say they trade for James Harden, if James Harden comes in and doesn't conform to that Heat culture, Pat Riley's not going to let the Heat be overtaken by James Harden. I promise you that. And so what would happen is, and I bet money on this, if they were to trade for James Harden and James Harden didn't conform to that Heat culture, James Harden would be back on the trade block next year with 1 year left in his deal. So, I mean, if I'm Pat Riley, I mean, you know what he's doing. You know how tight of a ship he runs. So I don't think that there's any way that he would just let James Harden come in and I don't even know. I don't know. I think that we're all quick to be like, well, James Harden don't care. I mean, James Harden's just a different guy. Like, it's obvious that he cares because you have to be really talented to do the things that he does. And, there's some things that people don't like, and I understand that completely. But James Harden's one of the 10 best basketball players in the NBA. Don't get that twisted, and don't think, well, this dude doesn't work hard. He is a superstar, and he's a mega superstar. And if you have the chance to get him, you get him.
Okay. We can probably talk all night about that.
Yeah.
But I understand why people feel the way they feel about James Harden, and I understand why people feel, and I also understand why people feel the way they feel about James Harden, if that makes sense. Either way, however you feel about James Harden, he goes and gets buckets. He works hard. James Harden works hard. He just does what he wants to do off the court. So, that's Adam Silver's problem, not ours.
I got to ask you something, Amber.
Okay.
Can the Heat win the title with the roster constructed the way that it is? As is. They don't do anything else. They leave it alone. They say, we're not trading for James Harden. We're not doing anything else. Shout out to Aaron, by the way. Aaron's a Heat guy, and Aaron would give us the truth on the Heat. He knows. Shouts out Aaron. But do you think the Heat, because they were in the finals last year, but can the Heat win a title constructed the way they are right now?
I think they need one more piece.
I don't, that's what I'm saying. I don't see it. Like, they made it to the finals last year. They could make it to the finals again this year. But, I mean, you saw the games, man. Like, the Lakers were clearly better. And if they made it back to that point, let's say they played the Lakers again. What have they done to improve the roster to become that much better? I know Bam was hurt last year, but the Heat still need another dude. I mean, it is what it is. The Heat need another dude, and I hope they get him because I like when the Heat team is good. So, but I don't think they can win the title if they stand pat the way that they are. But they're my number 8 team. So,
okay, I like the Heat. I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan. I've been a Jimmy Butler fan. I used to go watch him play at TJC because I went to college right down the road. Yeah. Shout out to Texas Junior College. It's Tyler Junior College. I'm sorry, in Tyler, Texas. It's very interesting to see how the Heat are this season because Kendrick Nunn has been lost in the shuffle, and I'm a big Kendrick Nunn fan as well because I just love his story. But when they got Avery Bradley, I was like, okay, where does Kendrick Nunn get his minutes? Because Jimmy Butler's playing like that point guard position. Him and Hero kind of play that point guard position. Yeah. Dragic has already said, I'll come off the bench because he plays his best games off the bench. We all agreed there. And you get Avery Bradley. So now it's like, okay, where's Kendrick Nunn fit in? You know what I mean? So he's kind of that lost man in the shuffle. He gets minutes here and there, but he's that lost guy in the shuffle. And I really dislike that for him because I really think he can play. But
Kendrick Nunn needs to go to a team that is not as deep at the guard position, because right now with the Heat, you look at Hero, Robinson, and Dragic. They're great players. They're all terrible defensively. Dragic is a little bit better than Hero, and Robinson is like just they ain't guarding anybody. And so they had to go get somebody like Avery Bradley, who is a really good perimeter defender, because the Heat. And so Kendrick Nunn, great story, would come out the first year last year and was great. They got to the bubble, he wasn't even playing. And so he's not offensively, he's a high usage guy. Love the story. He's not great defensively, and since they've already got some guards that they believe in that are not great defensively, he's kind of lost in the shuffle. I wish he could get to a team that needed some guard depth and allowed him to shine, because I do think he's a serviceable player. I think he's a good player, but I think on that Heat team, some of those guys have passed him up.
Yeah, and that's the disheartening part when you think about it. Because I really, really love him. I watched him in Summer League, loved him in Summer League. Did he get the virus or he got hurt in the bubble and he couldn't quite get his feet back underneath him. So then they got Avery Bradley and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So number 7, who we got at number 7?
My 6 and 7 are really close, but
okay.
Number 17, I'm going to Boston Celtics. I think the story so far for Boston has been how good Jaylen Brown has been.
Ooh-wee, JB.
He had 40-point game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He's been phenomenal. I think the stuff there's a lot of people saying weird stuff about Jason Tatum right now, like that he's struggling or whatever. And the thing with Jason Tatum is he wasn't getting to the free throw line, which is obviously worrisome. But you can watch Jason Tatum play basketball. Man, he's so talented. And I don't think if you're looking at the Celtics and you're criticizing Jason Tatum, I mean, give me a break, man. That dude is otherworldly good. His talent is off the charts. And if Jaylen Brown continues what he's doing now, because here's what you got to understand about Jaylen Brown. First of all, he's a first or second team all defensive guy. He's great defensively. And the shooting guard position isn't a position in the NBA that's extremely deep. The shooting guard position, you got Harden, Beal, Booker. After that, Clay's hurt. I mean, the shooting guard position is not a position, it's kind of a weaker position in the NBA because there's so many wings, forwards, that small forwards, power forwards that are out on the wing. So Jaylen Brown's a guy that's going to be first or second team all defense. And if he's scoring 25, 26 points per game, he's an all NBA guy. Like he is an all, what Jason Tatum is. We're still waiting to see Kemba. If Kemba's going to be healthy and he can get back, I hope so, because I like Kemba. I want to see him succeed. I like them having Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson is a winner. I think the Celtics are a team that I think a lot of people are underrating right now. They are my 7th team. I could easily see them being they're not my pick, but I could easily see them by the end of the year being the best team in the East, especially if Jaylen Brown continues his ascend towards being an all-NBA type guy.
Alex said Jaylen making Mark blush every game. He makes me blush every game too. I just love him. I love him at Cal. And I don't watch much Pac-12 basketball, but I watched him at Cal, and I loved watching him play. Love watching Peyton Pritchett play too.
Just another side note about Jaylen. Kind of, we're talking about basketball. Jaylen's a really smart guy too. Like he's very, very intelligent. One of the smartest dudes in the NBA, and he's not like I don't want to bring Kyrie into this, but Kyrie thinks he's smart. Jaylen Brown actually is like a really, really intelligent and thoughtful guy. And so I like Jaylen Brown a lot, and I want to see him continue to succeed, because I think that's two. If Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum continue, to ascend towards that All NBA position, that's two of the best young stars in the NBA.
Yes, and Beantown has welcomed Peyton Pritchett, another Pac-12 guy, Pac-12 Player of the Year last year out of Oregon. I watched him all 4 years at Oregon, and Beantown has really accepted him. I like Peyton Pritchett. He is a Brad Stevens guy. He really is. I enjoy watching him play a lot. I like Boston a lot. I had Boston number 2 in the East, behind the Nets, of course. So Boston can still play defense. That interior worries me, though. The interior worries me a little bit. You got Tristan Thompson there. Hopefully he can stay healthy throughout the whole year. You got Robert Williams there, SEC guy, Texas A&M. But that interior, he plays really, very good. But that interior worries me because you look at the bigger teams and around the NBA.
They're a sneaky make a trade team too. They're a sneaky.
Danny Ainge pull a plug. You think Danny Ainge will do it?
That's the same with Danny Ainge every year. It's really pull the trigger. But there's some dudes out there that could help them on the interior. They're a team I'd watch for on the trade market as we get closer to the trade deadline.
Okay. All right. So we got number 7. Now, who was number 6? Why was it so close?
Okay, number 16 for me is probably my surprise team so far is the Indiana Pacers. They've been really, really good. They're 4-1. I know T.J. Warren got hurt. I don't know what the extent of his injury is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, surgery on his foot. He's going to have surgery on his foot.
How long is he out for?
They haven't said. Woj didn't say. Shams didn't say. So
I like that team. The thing that I like that's really stuck out so far is how good Domantas Sabonis is. He has been great, man. He has been he's out from it. I hate to see that. I hate to see that for the Pacers. But Sabonis has been really good so far. It's obvious that dude is an all-star, and he is somebody that you're going to be able to continue to build around. It looks like Victor Oladipo is somewhat back to being Victor Oladipo. They've played really well so far. Out said Sabonis is a fantasy team on his back.
Double guy.
He's been great. Good passer, pretty good shooter, can knock down shots.
His dad was one of the best big passing big men in the league. I cannot talk tonight.
His dad's one of the most underrated NBA players of all time. Arvydas Sabonis, was a superstar in Europe before he came over, and was just a great player. But I think Domantas Sabonis is going to be great. They have some questions though. They're my number 16. This is about the highest I see them going this year. I think they're actually going to start dropping, but they have some questions. My number one question for them. What are you going to do with Miles Turner?
Oh my goodness!
It's obvious that Miles Turner is not a player that a lot of teams are high on. They would be better off if they could find a trade for him out there. And the next thing is kind of, all right, what are you going to do with Victor Oladipo? He's kind of back and forth on whether he wants to be there. It's obvious that, I think if you're the Pacers, this is Sabonis's team. And it don't need to be confused. I know Victor Oladipo thinks he's the guy, but this is Sabonis's team. And I think that they need to make that very clear. I can see them moving both Miles Turner and Victor Oladipo. He's a very good rim protector, Alex. If a team needs a rim protector, I know the Celtics were out on him, but if there's a team that needs a rim protector out there, watch out for them. Watch out for getting Miles Turner. If he could get in the right system, I think he'd be good too. But I'm really anxious to see what the Pacers do. They've been playing really good basketball so far. It's cool to see them so high, and I think this is about the highest they'll get for me. But they're my number 6 team at 4-1 right now.
Indiana, wow. Indiana has surprised me too. I had them as like a 7-8 seed in the East. Of course, you got that playing game now, so the playoffs a little deeper. And they've shocked me too. And then you find out T.J. Warren's out, and you're like, oh, but Sabonis has been balling.
Yeah.
And then Oladipo's trying to come back. Miles Turner is a guy that, didn't they pay Miles Turner? They paid him like a year or two ago. And now it's kind of like, dang, okay, we paid you, produce.
Yeah.
The Celtics paid Jaylen Brown, produced. But Hill got paid, he's producing. So it's kind of like when players get paid, it's like they stop producing for some reason.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot in the NFL and the NBA. So I would really like to see Miles Turner go elsewhere. I think his time in Indiana has run its course, because what are you doing? What are you doing? We're paying you this money. We need you to perform. And he's just not performing. It's just not working.
I want to put Alex, that one made. Alex said PG got paid and the Clippers had the worst loss in history. God bless the Clippers. We're gonna kill. I want to kill them here in a few minutes, Alex.
You're gonna get him started on the Clippers.
Yeah,
on Step Brother.
For sure.
On the Step Brother. But I like Indiana. I had them 7 or 8, but them being 6 in your power rankings does not surprise me because they've played so well thus far this season. We're gonna see if they can keep it up. I think some of these teams that are playing very, very well thus far will tail off a little bit.
They'll come back down to earth.
They'll come back down to earth. All right.
I do think out of the teams playing really good early, like the surprise teams playing really good, I think Indiana is a team. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think that I think they're a team that's going to make the playoffs. They'll hang around. They may not be as high as 6, but I don't put them in the same category as the Magic, who are also 4-1, got killed tonight. I think the Magic are a lower tier. If they were my power rankings, they're still probably 15, 16, somewhere around there. I think the Pacers can sustain this longer, but I don't think that they're going to rise up any further.
Okay, so now we're down to the nitty gritty, down to the top 5. Give me number 5.
My number 5 team's a team that got a dominant blowout win tonight, the Philadelphia 76ers. They were my pick to go. They were my pick to go to the finals. If you watched our preview podcast or our preview show at the beginning of the year, I don't know. I just believe in them, man. I just think that this team is a really good team. Ben Simmons hit a 3 tonight. God bless him. He's just pulling threes now, and we don't know what's going on. There's still some. Do they try to go after Harden? I don't know, man. I just, for some, and I'm probably going to be wrong, but I really like Doc there. I really think that he can get the most out of those dudes. Shake Milton's played pretty well. Tyrese Maxey has played pretty well off the bench.
Your boy, that's your guy. That's my guy too.
My boy Tyrese Maxey's played really well off the bench. They've played. I think there might be 4-2 or something like that. I like the 76ers. They're number 5 for me right now. They're another team I look at and be like, all right, as constructed, can they win the title? I don't know. But I do think there's some moves there for them. Daryl Morey, he said he's not trading Ben Simmons. He also said he wasn't trading Chris Paul, and he traded Chris Paul like 2 weeks later. So it's untelling what will happen with that team. But I do like Doc Rivers being there. I do like their team. Shout out to Danny Green, who's still missing shots. He's still a brick. No matter, I love Danny Green, but my Lord, he hasn't hit a shot in 2 years, and he's brick city. He's brick city for the 76ers right now. But they're my number 5 team, and I think that I don't know. Watch out for them. I think they can continue to get better.
I think they will too. And I saw Danny Green. I was watching when he was on the floor. Joel Embiid had a double team, and Seth Curry refused to pass Danny Green. He was wide open in the corner. And Danny Green's just looking like, pass me the ball, but he just airballed in the corner like a couple possessions before.
God bless Danny Green.
Yes. But what's probably Lakers Twitter. I cannot read tonight. Lives rent-free in Danny Green's head. You guys, between Kuzma and Danny Green, you guys were just tearing them up.
Yeah, we're killing Kuzma until he's a star. That's
you guys are just so hard on Danny Green. Poor Danny Green. But I like the pickup of Seth Curry.
I gotta say one thing, Amber. Listen, last year when Danny Green had that on the back, the players had messages on the back of their jerseys last year. Danny Green had how many more on the back of his jersey? And every time he would miss a shot, they post that picture of him missing a shot and the back of his jersey saying how many more, and it would kill me every single time.
He has a number 14, so it just doesn't bode well. You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, Danny Green, you're not thoughts and prayers.
Alex said Kuzma offered a PS5 for the Twitter followers. It was still, nobody cares about your PS5.
Y'all made Kyle Kuzma delete his Twitter. You Lakers fans made Kyle Kuzma deactivate Twitter. He said, "I'm getting off the social media stuff."
No.
He went from not caring about what people said to deleting Twitter altogether.
Listen,
Lakers
Twitter saved KCP. Like KCP was trash, and Lakers Twitter saved him. We pushed him new high. So we're Danny Green, he's probably done, but we're going to push Kyle Kuzma to new high.
Is that tough love? Is it tough love that you got to give Kyle Kuzma?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
You know what? I'm a Doc Rivers fan. I've been a Doc Rivers fan for a while. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. And I love Tyrese Maxey. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And when he dropped in the draft, I was like, somebody's going to get him and be lucky. And man, let me tell you, he's played very well for the 76ers.
Yeah, he's been good.
They're deeper this year.
Yeah.
They got deeper this year. You lost Josh Richardson, but you got Seth. You and Dallas just swapped. You got Seth. They got Seth Curry. You got shooting, which is what you really, really needed. And you lost something on defense, which the defense wasn't the problem last year. They just couldn't win on the road. And then they won by almost 40 on the road in Orlando tonight. I mean, what the heck is going on in 2020? But I really like the way their team's constructed. It looks like Doc Rivers knows how to play Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, which is something Brett Brown did not know how to do. Right. And you got shooting around you now. You got defense. Danny Green can still play defense. If he can't hit a shot, he can give you some defense. Okay. He might airball. How many more? But he will play some defense. So that team currently constructed, I like them. I picked them to finish, I think, 5th or 6th in the East, but that might change. Like I said before the show started, a lot of my predictions are not going well right now. And I don't like saying that. I don't like being wrong, ladies and gentlemen, but sometimes you're just wrong. Sometimes, your instincts let you down. But I believe that the 76ers are a strong candidate to make the finals this year. I really do. The way they're playing, Joel Embiid looks like he's in shape. Ben Simmons. I like Ben Simmons a lot. That's why I don't think Philly should give him up for Harden. I like the way that team is constructed in Philly. I do. I like it. All right. Number 4, who you got?
A team that I don't know. The Brooklyn Nets. They are my number 4 team. I will tell you why about Brooklyn. They would have been number 3. They would have been number 3. Last night worried me. Last night they had a 145 to 141 All-Star game with the Atlanta Hawks. I know the Atlanta Hawks have a lot of firepower, but it's hard for me to believe in a team that gives up 141 points that can be a long-term contender. Now, here's what I'm excited about. Number 1, Kevin Durant looks like he's back, and that's exciting for the league. That's really cool for the league. It's going to be fun watching him and Kyrie play all year. They've been great so far together. Offensively, they're great. Karis LeVert's been really good coming off the bench. Jared Allen is somebody that's a good guy coming off the bench. I think the Dinwiddie getting hurt, being out there, hurt them because he's another guy that could initiate offense. That was a playmaker for that team, and I think that that is going to hurt them. Brooklyn's going to be a really fun team all year. The one thing that kind of makes me think that they may not be a title contender is their lack of defense. God bless DeAndre Jordan, but that man cannot defend anymore. I mean, he's not there on defense. And Alex and Kyrie is using performance-enhancing save for Woj. Yeah, I mean, but listen, they're I don't like Kyrie. Yeah, he's not my cup of tea, but he's playing really well, and Kevin Durant is playing really well. It's obvious that those two. What cracked me up, Kyrie said before the year, he's like, I've never had a guy that can make the last shot in the game. And yeah, they play was it the Hornets, and KD had the last shot and missed it, and I was like, yeah, God bless you, buddy. I hope you two are happy together. But I think that they're going to be great offensively all year. And I know the rumors were with them all year. Will James Harden get traded there? James Harden don't fix their problems. Their problems are defensively. That team can score. That team is going to score all year. They're going to be in the top 5 offensively all year long. Their problems are defensively. And is there anybody out there that can help them I don't know.
PJ Tucker. I'd rather have PJ Tucker get on that squad than James Harden. So if you want to rock it, go get PJ Tucker.
Now, see, that's the thing. If they could somehow also get PJ Tucker in a deal, I would love that. If PJ Tucker is a buyout candidate and the Nets were able to pick him up, that's a great pickup for them. But they need help on the defensive end, and I don't know where that from. That's why they were at the first couple games of the year. I was like, man, they're phenomenal. After that Hawks game last night, I'm not trying to overreact to one game, but it's obvious that the whole thing with the Nets the whole year was, will they be good defensively? And right now the answer is emphatically no. And so until they get better defensively, I don't see them being a title contender. I'm not saying they can't make the finals, but they're not a title contender for me yet.
Until they get better defensively.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm high on the Nets, and I'm high. I know they gave up 141 to the Hawks, but Hawks can score. The Hawks can score. It seems like the NBA is changing because the NBA is more tailored towards the offense now. And the defense has lost pretty much all its power in the NBA, pretty much. Just kind of like the NFL. It's tailored toward offenses. The defenses have lost their power. Because, defense in the 90s and early 2000s is a lot different than defense now.
But at the same regard, though, the Lakers won a title last year with defense. Like,
yeah. But look who you had on your team defensively.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So the Lakers have LeBron. When LeBron sits in that chair, when he gets that look and he sits in that chair, it's defense. Anthony Davis can guard 1 through 5. He was a defensive player of the year last year. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. Anthony Davis can guard 1 through 5. KCP plays great defense. Danny Green plays great defense. Rondo plays great defense. Caruso played great defense. Avery Bradley played great defense. They had defensive guys.
Vogel's a great defensive coach.
Exactly. And it just happens that those defensive guys, 2 of them are in the top 5 in scoring every year. You know what I mean? So the Lakers are an anomaly. We all know that. So when we start comparing teams, the Lakers are just in a league of their own. Now, when PG smirks on the bench, his 3-point percentage drops to 38%. Oh, Alex with the gems tonight.
When he starts shaking his head, we know what's coming too. He's hitting the side of the backboard with his next shot.
Oh my good. I mean, it is what it is with Paul George. I like Paul George. I'm a huge Paul George fan. I like a lot of people that people just roast on a daily basis. But it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with my choices. But the Nets are a team that I have going to the finals. I have them coming out the East. Kevin Durant is back. I don't know how people doubted him coming back from that. He's a jump shooter, but he's been blowing by people this year too. So it's kind of like, what did you do for your Achilles? I need to do that for mine. But anyway, I like the Nets. Need to learn how to stop somebody though. But giving up 141 to the Hawks was a little frightening, but the Hawks are scoring at a high clip this year because they don't play defense either.
I need everybody to know that I hate the Hawks. I hate
Perry's not gonna like that too much because Perry is very high on the Hawks.
I love Perry. I hate the Hawks.
All right, we got our top 3 now. Who's number 3 for you, Andrew?
Number 3 right now is the Bucks. I don't love the Bucks, but they're my number 3 team. I think Drew Holiday's been playing really well for them, and I like that. It looks like DiVincenzo's gotten better.
Dante, love me some DiVincenzo.
Yeah, Dante DiVincenzo looks like he's got a bit more confident. One of my favorite slander candidates, Chris Middleton's been playing really good so far. He's always somebody that catches stray bullets for me throughout the season, and will continue to catch them when we get towards the playoffs as he chokes it up and shows us what he's really made out of. The Bucks hit 28 threes the other night, which was, I think, was that NBA record. They blew out
28 or 29.
Yeah, I mean that, and Giannis still isn't playing great yet. He's still not playing. Is Middleton top 30 to you too? No, I don't think so. I really, honest to goodness, do not think Chris Middleton's a top 30 player.
Yeah, I don't either. I know they had an argument in the chat about that. They were going back and forth about that. No.
And the thing is, Chris Middleton's a front runner, so like he's good in the first part of the year, and he's when it comes down to him, if he's the guy that's got to get you buckets, it's not happening for you. And so they're my number 3 team right now. The thing I worry about them, they've lost a little bit of depth. I think who cares about Bobby Portis? He's not doing anything.
I like Bobby Portis.
And who cares? Bobby Portis say, Bobby Portis, whatever. And that they got Augustine on their bench. It's kind of whatever. I don't know about them long term. I think last year people thought that the Bucks were the clear favorites in the East. I don't think that they're the clear favorites anymore. They're my number 3 team right now, and I think that they're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. But I'm definitely not picking the case.
Yeah, I picked the Heat to upset the Bucks last year in the playoffs, and it happened. I'm not high on the Bucks. I didn't think Giannis would re-sign with the Bucks. I don't know if he's taking the whole Damian Lillard small market approach to things. I'm not sure. But the loyalty thing, I'm not quite sure what he's thinking there. But if loyalty matters to him, then we can't deny that. We can't deny that if that's what he wants to do. I don't think he'll ever win a championship in Milwaukee unless they get something. They need a number 2 guy because Middleton is not a number 2 guy, not in the playoffs. Alex says, shout out to Miami for winning the East and helping me win that bet from November last season. Alex, you and Corey just cash in all the time. Bets Unwrapped on Saturdays, guys. Want to learn how to win some money.
By the way, I'm just looking at the stat box from last night. The Bucks lost to the Heat last night. I know the Bucks are 2-3, and people's like, why are the Bucks number 3 for you? Because they're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. Like that's my thought process on them, is they're going to win a lot of games in the regular season. But I just want to give a shout out to Chris Middleton, whom has just lit the scoreboard up last night. In 37 minutes played, he went 3 for 15. 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, and had an astounding 8 points and was a -9 or a -9 plus-minus. God bless Chris Middleton for lighting up the scoreboard against the Heat last night. Way to be that number 2 guy, my man. Prime Middleton. That's exactly right. Prime Chris Middleton.
Alex won a stimulus check from his gambling habits. Oh, goodness. He won a little bit more than a stimulus.
PG. All right. That's a career night for PG, Alex. He said PG is shook reading those stats. 3 for 15 is a career night for Paul George.
Y'all just rake Paul George. Who's your number 2 team?
Let's rake Paul George. It's the Clippers. My number 2 team is the Clippers. Here's the truth. When everybody's been in the game, the Clippers have been really good. They beat the Lakers in the opening night. They beat the Blazers. They beat the Blazers last night. They looked really good. Serge Ibaka has been a really good addition for them. He has been good defensively. He also dropped Kawhi Leonard with a KO punch the other night on accident, and had Kawhi Leonard coming out in the oddest face mask I've ever seen a human being wear on a basketball court last night. He looked like he looked like Silence of the Lambs dude. Whatever his name is.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, he looked like him. And so the Clippers, I think, are really good. And they're 4-1, I think. Yeah, exactly. Yes. He had the Dwight Schrute match in the CPR episode of The Office, one of the best episodes of all time. The Clippers are really good. Paul George is playing good. He is doing exactly what we know him to do, which is play good at the first of the year. Here's the problem with the Clippers. They still don't have a point guard. Nick Batum has been better than we expected, I think. Nick Batum looks healthy. He's a creator, pretty good player. I think he's been good for them. Pat Beverly's still burning it up, running his mouth and getting about 2 points a night and missing layups and doing all the things that Pat Beverly does. Let's get down to the facts. The Clippers lost by 50 the other night, and it was one of the greatest moments of the year 2020, besides when they blew a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets. They lost by 50 to the Dallas Mavericks, a team that's not even playing very good, and it was a blessing to me to watch them lose by that bad. Paul George said, I'm coming out for people this year. I'm back with my old trainer. So Paul George gets a night by himself for Kawhi Leonard setting out. And Paul George does what Paul George always does, and he loses by 50. And so the Clippers, I think that they've gotten better. They're still frauds. They're my number 2 team in the power rankings right now. They will win a lot of regular season games until they get a point guard. I don't trust them.
Now, Alex, we have confirmation from Shams as well that he has been getting his lemon pepper wings flown in from Magic City. along with other things that come with the lemon pepper wings, if you know what I mean. All right. I can't validate that report, Alex. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. All right. Because if Woj and Shams report it, you know it's true. I like the Clippers. I'm a huge Kawhi Leonard fan. And I think Ty Lue's offense with the Clippers runs better than that offense they had with Doc Rivers, in my opinion. I just think it flows a little bit better. Until they get a point guard, I don't think they can beat the Lakers. Until they get a point guard. That's just what it is. Because having a legit point guard, I thought they were going to get Rondo. I said, if you get Rondo, you're good. You know what I mean? You're good. Rondo doesn't have to change addresses. He can stay in his house in LA if he has a house in LA. Just like Trez didn't have to change his address and he stays, when with the Lakers. I think Pat Beverly has left the chat. I think when Trez went to the Lakers, that was alarming for me because I think the Clippers could have gave him more money. It was very alarming for me that Trez chose the Lakers over the Clippers. And I think that's probably the most alarming thing this offseason, because how do you leave a team to go to the same team and in the same city, go from step brother to big brother? Something must be going on in that locker room somewhere. Players are not getting along. There were a lot of reports of selfishness from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They practiced when they wanted to and things like that. He said the Clippers were too busy giving Canard and Morris the bag. Yeah, I would have gave Morris. I agree with. I think he brings a lot to the table. Luke Canard, what has he done this season?
Yeah, I'll tell you what he's done. Perfect segue for me because I already have that pulled up. Luke Canard, the $64 million man that Steve Ballmer decided to pay $64 million for, the superstar Luke Canard. So far this year, here's his splits. 7.8 points per game, blowing it up. 2.6 rebounds, 2 assists, and an astounding PER of 6.56. Luke Canard is awful. He can't guard anybody. They spent $64 million on this dude that they could have gotten. I mean, I love it, though, because the Clippers are a poverty franchise. I love to see them giving big contracts to dudes that aren't very good at basketball. And I can't wait till the end of the year when they're saying, all right, our closing lineup is we're going to put out Lou Williams and Luke Canard. God bless them because they can't guard. They're not be able to guard anybody, and they're going to be hunting for those people. I'm just going to continue to kill the Clippers because I'll never believe in them.
I want to believe in the Clippers, and I learned my lesson last year. I got burned last year. I really did. I got burned because I said, man, Clippers Raptors finals, Clippers are going to win it. I got freaking burned by the Clippers. Am I going to get burned this year? Heck no. I'm not getting burned this year. I believe they will probably, maybe, we'll see, make it to the Western Conference Finals, but there's no way I'm picking the Clippers again. You're not going to burn me twice, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. You're just not going to do it. I'm a huge fan of yours, both of you guys, but you're not going to burn me. You're just not going to do it. I'm not going to allow it to happen. All right, number one, we already know who number one is. Andrew, go ahead and tell the people who number one is.
I got it. Let me readjust my. Let me readjust my. Let me get myself ready here. All right. So the number one team is obvious because they're the best team, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. I know they're 3-2. They lost the Clippers opening night, and they lost to the Blazers, who had a hot shooting night. Thank you, Alex. Shout outs to my hoodie. Here's a couple of things about the Lakers. First of all, they're the number one team in offensive rating in the NBA. Their offense has gotten a lot better. I'm going to give you this is a huge extensive breakdown because I've literally watched every second of Laker basketball so far this year.
I know you have. This is your time.
Yeah, this is my time to shine. First of all, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is shooting over 50% from the 3-point line. He's playing great defense. He's taking the confidence that he's gotten from the bubble, and he's playing really well. LeBron James is starting off the year much quicker than I thought that he would. He had 29 the other night. I think he had 26 or something last night against San Antonio. LeBron's playing really, really well, shooting the 3-ball really good. Surprisingly, it looks like he's looking for his 3-point shot a little bit more. Mm-hmm. His assist numbers are a little bit down, but his scoring's a little bit up, which you would kind of expect with the additions that they had. Schroeder has been excellent. Schroeder has been, if you've watched Lakers play so far this year, Schroeder has been great on the defensive end. He's playing wonderful, and it's obvious he can get to the ring anytime that he wants to. His 3-point shooting has been even. He had a great 3-point shooting year last year. His 3-point shooting has been great so far this year. I know it's only five games in, but it's been great. Anthony Davis has not been great so far. He looks like he's starting off a little bit slow. I don't know if there's a nagging injury or anything that's going on. He's not been great yet. So think about that. The Lakers are the #1 offensive rated team in the NBA, and maybe their best offensive player, Anthony Davis, is not even going yet. Like he's not even really there yet. Kyle Kuzma has played really well so far this year. We have bullied him off of Twitter and into the gym to play great basketball. And he has played. He is playing with confidence. He is somebody that can play defense okay, and he's looking for his shot. He's hitting the three-point at a pretty high clip. He had a good game the other night. I think it was against the Mavericks. He played really well. Alex Caruso has shot the ball really well. He's out some COVID scare issues. I don't think he has COVID. Constance got him out for a couple of games. Trez has been really good off the bench for the Lakers so far this year. Offensively, he's just a guy that you can come in, and it's exactly what we thought. They didn't have a bench that was very deep last year. They got in guys now that when LeBron sits, they're fine. Like Trez can score. Schroeder can score. They've got these dudes that can score. Finally, Wes Matthews had was 6 for 6 yesterday. Played a great game against the Spurs. If he's hitting shots, he's another guy that can defend at a high clip. The Lakers are super, super deep. Defensively, they're #9 in defensive rating in the NBA. They're not as good defensively right now as they were at the end of the year, but that's something that will continue to get better. I think everybody is worried. The one thing that I look at the Lakers, like, what do they need? I would be okay with them looking for another rim protector at a low price. I wish they would have gotten Dwight back. I think that if they'd have gotten Dwight back, forget it. There's no weaknesses on that team. They do need a rim protector, like a backup rim protector. Marc Gasol is slowly progressing, but he's a little bit slower. You can tell he's a little bit older, but he's been playing better the last couple of games. I think people were worried saying, well, they don't have a closing lineup, or if they try to play Montrez in the closing lineup, they're going to get killed. Here's the deal. The Lakers know their closing lineup. We know their closing lineup. What's their closing lineup? Schroeder, KCP, LeBron, Markieff, AD at the 5. We know that. Like that's the lineup they played in the finals, except with Schroeder, and that's the lineup they're going to play closing games out because AD is a rim protector. AD is not going to be playing the 5 much during the season because he's saving that until the playoffs. So I'm not super worried about that part, and I know he's going to continue to play better. I just think they're so deep right now. They're so good offensively. The hope was for people that don't like the Lakers, well, maybe LeBron takes a step back because he's a year older. He turned 36 yesterday. Happy birthday to the greatest basketball player of all time, LeBron James, the king. But here's the deal. He's not taking a step back. If you've watched their game so far, he's flying all over the court, dunking, hitting threes at a high clip, free throw percentages up. They've got guys that can handle the ball, guys that can initiate. Everybody looks like they've gotten a year better. They're deeper. Their defense is going to be great. They got a great defensive coach. I stand by what I'm saying. I think the Lakers stay in the top spot all year. There's going to be some games where you can kind of watch the Lakers. There's some games they're just like sleepwalking through the motions. They just won a title 71 days ago. That's to be expected. But when they've got their mind in the game, when they're clicking, I just don't think there's anybody else that can play at their level.
You said it all. I'm the same way about the Lakers. It's just so evident that they are just going to. Now, I do think, they're going to get some good series in the West because it's the West and people will try to be competitive and try to beat the Lakers. But the way they're currently constructed, Rob Pelinka and LeBron James, his assistant, basketball operations, I think his assistant, because, LeBron probably tells him, hey, this is who I want. This is who I think would fit. Him and Rob Pelinka get together, and that's what they make. Jenny Buss makes it happen. So I really like what they did. They got Schroeder. I wasn't expecting Schroeder to go to the Lakers. That was new. I knew he was leaving OKC. Montrezl Harrell surprised the heck out of me. Now, that was shocking. Rondo leaving, that kind of surprised me a little bit because AD and Rondo and LeBron have that connection. Danny Green leaving didn't shock me. Kyle Kuzma getting paid shocked me a little bit, but he is a Clutch Sports client.
But with Kuzma, that's a pretty good price.
It's a good price, yeah. But he wanted to get paid.
It's only like he's making like $13 million a year.
Yeah.
And so and who knows with Kuzma? Maybe he's around. Maybe he stays around LA. maybe they use him as a trade chip, going forward. Who knows? That's kind of an unknown. I'm happy, and I hope Kuzma needs confidence. And that's what we here at Lakers Twitter are trying to do, is bully him into being the best Kyle Kuzma. Because if there's some way you stumble across this live, understand something. We love you. We are bullying you to make you better. It is not hate that we bring. It is love. We want the best for you, Kuz. Be good.
See, there you go, Kuz. From a diehard Lakers fan, they love you. Kyle Kuzma, you're an interesting personality. I don't have a problem with you. I think you're great. And I think that you should not let people bully you off Twitter. Now, if it takes you getting off Twitter to be the best man you can be, then hey, that's your personal decision. But the Lakers are the clear-cut best team in the NBA. Yes, they have lost 2 games, but it's the Lakers. LeBron doesn't care about the regular season. He just cares about the playoffs. Go ahead.
Another thing, too, that I want to say, it's an underrated thing a little bit. The Lakers are going to get everybody's best shot every night. So don't expect don't expect if the Lakers lose a couple games. I would just advise people not to overreact to Lakers losses and saying, "Oh, see, they're not as good." Listen, teams play differently against when you are the defending champ, you have a target on your back. There's a reason that the Blazers played lights out the other night against the Lakers, and they come back against the Clippers and have a dud. Like there's a reason that happens. It's not random. So I mean, when you're the defending champion, there's a target on your back. They're going to get everybody's best shot the whole entire year. But my question for anybody that would ever like to talk basketball with me and that disagrees with the Lakers being the clear-cut best favorite is this: who's beating them 4 out of 7? Who are you going to pick? Whatever team. Who is going to beat that team in 4 out of 7 games? To me, the answer is nobody. Because you're going to get – what's the playoffs last year? You're going to get a game where – and it was normally game 1 in those series last year. They lost game 1 to the Blazers. I think they lost game 1 to the Rockets. There's going to be a game or two where – LeBron's passive and AD just disappears off the face of the earth but this year they can kind of make up for that because they got Schroeder and Harrell, guys that can score off the bench. But you have to ask yourself that question: who is beating that team? 2 of the 5 best players in the league, along with a great deep bench. There's really no holes that they got. Who's going to beat them 4 out of 7? For me, that's nobody.
And I really dislike saying that, but it's the truth. All right, so there are some teams that did make the top 10 that we thought might be in the top 10 early in the season. So give me 2. I'll give you my 2 biggest, I don't want to say disappointments. I don't want to say disappointments, but Denver, I think, took a step back. People didn't believe me, and I think Denver took a step back.
Yeah.
I like Denver. I just don't trust Denver, just like I don't trust Milwaukee. I don't trust Milwaukee. I don't trust Denver. Also, a disappointment thus far in the East. Let me think. Toronto's been very disappointing.
Yeah.
Denver and Toronto are my 2 disappointing teams. Now, people might say, "Oh, Denver's playing all right. Jokic is playing great." Da 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 da. I don't think I had them as my number 2 or 3 seed this year. Like I said, my predictions are right thus far have not looked great, but we still have about 68 games left to go. I thought that Denver would build on that momentum from the bubble and kind of just take that next step. But they lost Grant, and I think that's going to hurt them more than people think because Michael Porter Jr. cannot play defense to save his life. He is barbecue chicken on the perimeter. Kyle Kuzma is barbecue chicken on the perimeter too on defense.
I'll tell you something else that's hurting the Nuggets right now. They're 1-3 right now. Jamal Murray's not playing as good, and you know, I think a lot of people were hoping, me included. Jamal Murray's one of my favorite Kentucky players ever played at Kentucky. I love Jamal Murray, big Jamal Murray guy. I think he's one of the smoothest players in the NBA. Was so excited when he really, just took a huge leap in the bubble. I was hoping that he would come in this year and say, all right, I'm a 26, 27 point a game guy. And you just think that he rockets and takes off. And so far that's not happened. And hopefully, we're 4 games into the season. They're 1-3 right now. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're a good team. Michael Porter Jr. has scored the ball really well this early in the season. I think he's had a couple 30-point games. He's been really good. But the question with the Nuggets is what Jamal Murray are you going to get? You know what you got with Jokic. You pretty much know that Porter Jr. is going to be a scoring phenomenon. He's going to be great at scoring the ball. But it comes down to what Jamal Murray you're getting. Are you getting bubble Jamal Murray? Then you're fine. You're going to be okay. Or are you going to get Jamal Murray that disappears sometimes? And, the dynamic's really interesting. Denver has built their team around that pick and roll between Murray and Jokic. Well, now you got another guy that needs to have the ball in his hands and with Porter Jr. Yep. So what is that dynamic between Murray and Jokic? Does that take the ball to Murray's hands a little bit more? Does he have to sacrifice a little bit more for Porter Jr.? How does that change? And also the question with Denver is, hey, Denver, do you think you're good enough as constructed to win a title? And if not, there's a guy looming out there that Denver also could have a package for, and that's Harden. I mean,
Harden wants to go to Denver.
No, but Harden don't have a choice. What's his choice? You got 2 years on your contract, big fella. You asked for a trade. If I'm the Rockets, I'm sending him to Sacramento or Cleveland. Like, I'm letting him, whatever. If I'm the Rockets, I'm getting the best return possible. But if you're Denver, you've got the guy that could probably get Harden, and that's Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Would you trade Michael Porter Jr.?
They just gave Monte Morris his money. They probably have to give up Gary. I think they have to give up Ball and Gary Harris.
You'd have to give up one of Gary Harris and Will Barton, and then you could probably, I think you could get it with Porter Jr., Harris and Pitts. And I think that you could keep most of the rest of your team out, because you got to ask yourself, who's sending you if you're the Rockets, who's sending you a player better than Michael Porter Jr.? Probably nobody.
Yeah.
So if you can get those two dudes, if you can trade those two dudes, so then the next question is, all right, how does James Harden fit with Murray and Jokic? And you'd be a little bit thin on the wing, obviously, but James Harden's generational. So if you're Denver, do you pull the trigger on that, or are you fine saying, listen, we may not be a title contender, but we know what we are. We're going to be second or third, fourth in the West. We made a Western Conference Finals last year. We're not going to win a title, but we're fine. Like we're fine with what we are. Or do you look and you say, James Harden would never come here in free agency. We've got a chance to get James Harden. Let's go get him.
Yeah, and would he sign long term though with Denver?
No.
Okay. So you're renting James Harden basically.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, listen, Toronto rented Kawhi for 1 year and won a title. So I mean, you don't know. I mean, who knows? But you remember the Toronto team. I mean, they weren't good enough to win a title constructed. Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, they weren't good enough to win a title. They traded and got Kawhi, and they were good enough. So, if you're the Nuggets, do you look and say, all right, we have a window with Jokic and Murray. Let's capitalize and get Harden and see how it fits. Or do you just say, hey, we're fine with what we got? And on the Raptors point, we were talking about the Raptors. You said the Raptors are disappointing. They are. We'll see if that continues. Here's what we know. And I think that we should all be in agreement. Pascal Siakam is definitely not as good as we were thinking at the start of last year.
Yeah, I think what's going on with him? What do you think it is?
I just think that there was a lot of people out there that thought that, okay, like he can be Kawhi or he can be there are people saying he was better than Jason Tatum last year.
I didn't say I would never say that, but I thought he would take the next step, though. I did think he would take the next step.
Let me ask you this: who is better, Siakam or Anunoby?
Right now, Anunoby.
Yeah.
And Fred VanVleet played very well. I mean, Fred VanVleet pretty much is their number one option. If you want me to be completely honest, he's probably their number one option.
Okay, so let's do this again. If you're the Raptors, you're sitting at 0-3. Probably that you're 6, 7, maybe 8 seed in the East, because they'll get better. I just think their defense has been really good. Their offense has been terrible. If Houston calls and says, "All right, We'll send you Harden. We want Siakam, Malachi Flynn, and picks. Do you do it?
Siakam, Malachi Flynn, and picks. Do you do it? Toronto, I think Toronto wants to keep Siakam, but would James Harden sign long term in Toronto? Tampa Bay, Toronto.
It's still 2 years. I mean, I don't.
Would you give James Harden up for Siakam for 2 years, or wait to see what Siakam? Because Siakam's still young.
No, if I'm Masai Ujiri, I'm saying yes. I'm going to Pascal Siakam's house and helping him pack and saying good luck in Houston, big fella, because we're getting jumped for 2 years. And so, like, I'm not worried about. Listen, what is Pascal Siakam's ceiling? At his best, what is he? Okay, so is he at best? Can he make third team All NBA?
At best, I think he could.
Okay.
At best. At best. He almost made it last year. Did he make it last year?
Listen, hey, at best, James Harden's MVP.
Well, yeah.
It's easy. That's easy. That's not even a question. So I don't care if I'm getting James Harden for 2 years or Pascal Siakam for 2,000 years. I'm trading Pascal Siakam for 2 years of James Harden because, listen, how many superstars are there in the league? LeBron, AD, Kawhi, Giannis, KD. Who else? Harden, Steph, Dame, maybe superstarish, but I mean, there's only at least
10, maybe 10.
10 superstars in the whole league. And if you get a chance to get one of those dudes for 2 years, you do it. I don't care. Pascal Siakam is a top 40 player in the NBA. James Harden is a top 7.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking about. I really want Siakam to be great. I really do. Personally, I want Siakam to be great. I want Toronto to be great. All right, we got our 2 disappointments. My 2 surprise teams. Atlanta. And we're all going to agree there. Perry would be very happy to hear this. The Atlanta Hawks in the East. I'm going to go East and West. And my surprise team in the West, I'm going to say this now, but it'll probably change, is Sacramento. I didn't think Sacramento would be playing this well. I did not think they would be playing this well, and they're playing well. They're giving the Rockets a fight right now, and they're playing very well. And the Rockets have their full roster now. So those are my 2 surprise teams, Sacramento and Atlanta.
I will say I will also admit to be surprised by Atlanta. I didn't think they'd be as good. I'd sit here and trash them. I'm still hesitant because I think they're really bad defensively. Mm-hmm. They're better offensively than I kind of expected. But I mean, Cam Reddish has actually played really well for them. I like him. Mm-hmm. Who's that random cat that was hitting threes the other night? What, I don't even remember that cat's name. Bogdanovich. No, Bogdanovich is the baller. But I got to look this up. 1 second. There was another guy the other night that just randomly went off for them, and I got to find who that was. But Trae Young's playing really well. You know, mm-hmm. he's a guy that's just like a perennial scorer, and I don't like the way that he gets refereed because he gets every call, man. He gets he gets calls like a 30-year vet does, and it's crazy. I'm not a big Trae Young guy. But the Hawks are a little bit better than I expected they would. I still think at best, what are they? You know, at best, what are they trying to do? I think at best they're probably 6, 7 seed in the East.
Okay.
And that's fine, but like you're not going to win a title, you know, with that team. And maybe that's not the thing, but who was this? Let's see. Was it? I'm looking. Was it Nate Knight?
It wasn't Herder. I know it wasn't. We know Herder. His name is Nate Knight.
Yeah, Nate Knight. Yeah, Nathan Knight. Yeah, he hit like the other night. It was against Memphis. He had 14 off the bench just like randomly. But the Hawks are a really good shooting team. And I think that they are surprising to me. Another team that is surprising to me is the Orlando Magic. And they're 4-1. They lost really big to the 76ers tonight. But here's what I've been impressed with, and here's what I'm happy for. Markelle Fultz has been really good.
Oh, yes. Shout out to Markelle Fultz.
And that makes me happy because the 76ers basically traded him for like a fruit roll-up and a string cheese. And what were they trading for? Like Jonathan Simmons and a late first-rounder. And now Markelle Fultz, he's a young guy. He's playing really, really well. I'm happy to see him playing good. The Magic are 4-1. They're still probably, 7-8 in the East, maybe 6 if at their peak. But I've been surprised by them. I hope they're able to keep it up, and I hope Markelle Fultz has a really good season.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cheering for Fultz. He got paid. He just got paid. And the 76ers gave up on him. And he's found a home. Looks like they're in Orlando. Fultz has improved since J. Cole referenced him on his verse for a lot, 21 Savage. Oh, that song a lot with 21 Savage. Okay, yeah.
Can we get J. Cole to reference Kyle Kuzma? I mean, if that's what causes people to play better, let's see if we can pull some strings and get J. Cole to reference Kuzma. Or
Kendrick Lamar, either or, you know what I mean? Because Kendrick's LA guy. So you know, we can get that popping, and maybe he can play a little bit better. Alex said he'll text J. Cole. Let us know what J. Cole says. Also, can he supply some ad-libs for the podcast as well? How much for a feature?
Please.
Now, mind you, we're balling on the budget around here. So how much for a feature? That's all we want to know.
We'll let him use our special code for RXM.
Yep, we will. And he can double his first deposit on my bookie as well. And we'll throw him some unwrapped gear. He can wear it in the video. And who knows, you know what I mean? We'll have $1 million in sales next quarter. Yeah. All right, guys. That was fun.
Yes.
That was fun. Now, this is usually my regular night for Ladies First, but I took 2 weeks off. Our normal night will be Friday, correct, Andrew? We're going to do Fridays. That's going to be our normal night.
Yeah, and I'll once again just say, for anybody that's not following Amber on Twitter, keeping up with her shows, I mean, Amber's one of the most knowledgeable people on sports out there. Keep up with her shows and what she's doing. She's always putting out great stuff. I'm happy to be able to do a show with you, and it's always fun talking basketball. I'm really excited to continue to keep this ball rolling and just continue to see how the season unfolds.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting season with the protocols, the injuries that have happened, the shortened season. What will these NBA players bring to the table with no fans, no motivation? Yeah. What's your motivation this season, NBA players? What is your motivation this season? That is my question. What motivates you to win a title? Because, you know, people are like, oh, we do it for the fans. But you don't have any fans this year, you know. And
it's just to be accepted on Twitter. That's his motivation.
And to offer a free PS5, and then y'all bullied him off of Twitter. How do y'all do that?
That's his motivation.
My motivation is that I get to come on here with Andrew and give you guys great fun banter, because we're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be serious, but we're going to have a lot of fun as well. We're going to throw some hot takes out there. Andrew has a lot of hot takes, and I laugh. And
I'm a passionate guy.
I know you are.
Some of my takes are a little bit too spicy, and they're wrong. For instance, I will sit here and say, if you're a college football fan, many months ago, I sat here and said that Justin Fields was going to be. I was wrong, and I'm fine. Listen, I'm not somebody that lets pride get in the way. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm a passionate guy, and I don't care to say when I'm wrong. And so you'll get that from me. But we're always, no matter what, our show is always going to be exciting.
It is. It's going to be fun because we talk to the people in the chat. We got Alex in the chat. We had Nick in the chat tonight. So we're interacting with people in the chat as well, because we want to get everybody involved in the show. Like I said before, we're going to have fun. And if it's not fun, then why are you doing it?
Yeah.
If it's not fun, then why are you doing it? All right. We're closing out the show to pay some bills. So you see the banner at the bottom. teespring.com/store/unwrapped. J. Cole, we got to get you some free gear to get you on a feature. We need some ad libs. Alex set that up. Hit up his agent or whoever from Rock Nation or from Dreamville, and we'll be happy to get them some gear to wear in their next videos. They want to put their video honeys and some tights we got for women. We can do that as well. They got phones. We can put some stuff on the back of their phones as well. You know, we're very, very multi-diverse here at Unwrapped. I know his camera guy. Oh, you know, his camera guy. Well, great. Can he give us some free camera gear as well, Alex? You know, we're willing to take anything we can to enhance the viewing experience.
Alex, when the Clippers do lose by 60 million, you're just tag teaming like old school wrestling style. We're just tag teaming coming in and we're destroying the Clippers. Like this is going to be our Super Bowl, I promise. Also, there's a lot of I do want to close out by saying I just want to give a shout out to our Unwrapped people. There's so many good people that have great content on Unwrapped. Check it out. I know Jordan Childs is getting ready to come back with a new podcast. He does great things. I mean, if you just go down the Unwrapped network, just everybody there is doing. If you are a sports fan, and we've got game, there's so many people doing great things, and I'll try to shout everybody out throughout the year. Many different podcasts. We hope to have some of those people on different shows with us as well. We got so many. Yeah, follow Alex for NBA player prop bets. He's always doing player prop bets that are great. And Alex is one of the best guys around to talk to and just to share takes with. I know Corey does stuff on the betting side. You know, Connie's doing stuff on the gaming side. We just have so many great people that are doing great things. So shout out Unwrapped Sports and all the wonderful people part of our network that have great podcasts that are doing great things. You know, shout out Trill with the college football stuff. He and Sam Daring and Caleb are doing great things. So just shout out everybody at Unwrapped.
Yeah, we're doing great things. And we want to make sure that we appreciate each other as a family. Yeah. We appreciate each other as a family because I appreciate Andrew and I appreciate my tech guy, Alex. And that's just what we do. All right. That's just what we do as a family. RX Hemp, rxhemp.com. You got sore achy muscles. Use the code RXHemp/USN. Get 10% off your order. And then the gambling. He talked about gambling. Alex and Corey do bets Unwrapped on Saturdays now. So if you want to win some money, mybookie.ag, you double your first deposit up to $1,000. Andrew and I would like to thank you. We like to thank you so much for joining us and having fun with us. We'll be back next Friday. But when the new year hits, we'll probably be giving you content every single day, sometimes twice a day, because I want to give you guys great content. We want to cover everything in hoops, and that's a lot of content to cover. But Andrew and I got you covered. We're going to have some help from people in the Unwrapped Sports Network, but we got you covered. Alex Count the Bucket is such a dope name, too. Oh, yeah, we love it because you always got to count the bucket.
Shout out the second greatest basketball player of all time, too, Alex Caruso. Shout out AC.
That's a great way to end the show, guys. All right, we'll see you guys next Friday. Look forward to more Unwrapped Sports content and hoops content as well, and the gaming, the new game. If you guys are gaming fans, Connie's starting that gaming up. All right, guys, we'll see you Friday.
See you guys.